Brigadier Dogar.
I think a similar action can take place now, and there is a need to start from top downwards.
Right. You see, Brigadier.
Please understand.
Brigadier, 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 understand this. That I understand your apprehension and General Qureshi's apprehension. What is General Qureshi's apprehension and your apprehension? It is that your country stands completely isolated.
He understands.
No, it is a fact. I find it very strange, General Qureshi, that you find the pitiable condition of your country a subject of amusement. You went to New York, you played victim at the UNGA, nobody bought your argument. Then you came back and realized that the new Indian government is making waves with the international community. The whole international community has caught your bluff about your feigned interest in maintaining peace with India and the rest of the world. So you go around to attack our civilians and violate the ceasefire. Then you try to go to an irrelevant body called the UN MOGIP and cry victim about the events over the last 10 days. Ban Ki-moon told you. Ban Ki-moon told you resolve the issue bilaterally, do not try to internationalize the conflict. Today, nobody is listening to you. And the Indian government's response is very clear. We are going to bludgeon you back if you try and hit us. You have truly run out of options, General Qureshi. Please look at it in terms of a serious long-term strategy. What are your alternatives now? Let me ask you, what is your alternative now? What are you going to do? What can you do?
Arnab.
Yes, Mr. General Qureshi, what are you going to do?
When does your question finish?
So what are you going to do?
It takes an hour and a half.
So why don't you answer the question, what are you going to do?
Continue to talk about. Yes,
I am reiterating a few points so that I bring a sense of reality to your thinking.
What we are going to do.
Yeah, tell me what you are going to do.
To answer.
Tell me what you are going to do. We all want to know. Across India, General Qureshi, we want to know what you are going to do.
Why don't you repeat another 50 times what are we going to do?
So I'm waiting for the answer.
What are you going to do?
I'm waiting for your answer.
What are you going to do?
I'm waiting
for
your answer.
What are you going to do? So it's pointless.
No, I think it has been made very clear.
Talking to you, Arnab.
Well, I think
your problem is, you see.
So don't tell me my problem. Tell me what is your alternative now as a country for you. What are you going to do?
Because the problem lies with you. Yes, if India fires on us, we will fire back. We will retaliate.
Okay.
But if you want to talk to Pakistan, we will talk to India. We are willing to talk. We want peace.
I think
we want peace and tranquility in this area.
I think what you are testing here.
But if India fires on Pakistani troops or civilians, Pakistani troops will retaliate.
Yeah, so
this is something that your government and Mr. Modi need to understand.
So now I'll tell you a few
facts.
You
have been trying to pulverize us. You have been trying to pulverize us for the last 60 years, and you have got pulverized yourself. So if you try again, you will get pulverized yourself.
Okay, so
it's pointless.
Here's the point.
I think
General
for reasonably thinking,
okay, Mahesh Jethmalani wants to respond.
Common citizens of countries like I am, we need to understand that this rhetoric that you keep building up on Times Now with Arnab briefing the Indian public of what he's heard from the Indian
administration. This discussion is not about me. It's about the situation on the border.
Your problem is a personal problem. The problem is not your experts talking to us. The problem is the anchor. He is the one who keeps questioning without listening to an answer.
Yes, I do.
And don't want to understand.
Yes, I do.
When you don't want to understand, you will never understand.
Sir, I only want answers.
Your government will not understand, and perhaps Modi will not understand.
General Qureshi, I'll tell you one thing. I have great personal regard for you. But I don't want a personal summary from you on what you think about me.
Tell me things that you really believe in.
But
don't tell me things that you hear from your intelligence agency.
Now you know, General Qureshi. You can. Unlike you, I have not worked with.
If I start behaving the way that you have been behaving, you will neither be able to ask a question, nor will you be able to answer a question. So I want you to learn this lesson.
If you have completed
I can treat you the same way that you're treating the rest of the people.
That's all.
Now, if your issue is that you don't want to listen, you do not want to discuss.
I've only been listening to you.
You don't want to have the people that you have with you to give their arguments and listen to our arguments.
Can I say something? Can I say something to you with all seriousness?
She doesn't know she's been paid by the establishment.
Sir, can I say
What's
something?
What's the point of this discussion?
My question there was very simple, that, please, we in the Indian media go to the point, we get the proof and we show you. I am putting pictures out. So these are the mortars that you fired at us, right? These are the civilian casualties that you did on us. We don't get that information from any intelligence agency, right? Our journalists and our reporters get it. Now, I don't know if one second. I am showing you these pictures.
On Pakistan
I am showing you these pictures.
Showing civilian casualties.
Not ISI approved pictures.
Caused by Indian
not ISI approved pictures.
Pakistani
not
civilians.
ISI manufactured pictures. Not ISI delivered pictures, not pictures shot by the ISI and delivered to certain select news channels and select
that is your problem.
In a chaperoned manner, as the lady next to you said, she was chaperoned into briefings.
If cold wind blows in your house, you think
now
ISI has done it.
The question is very simple. Now, there have been 100... No, one second. Sorry, one second. And
General Qureshi, frankly, if RAW had been as effective, we would have had RAW as a problem also.
Right.
But unfortunately, the competence level, I guess, of your intelligence agency is so bad that the briefing that you get has nothing to do with the facts on ground.
Unlike you, I have not had the pleasure of serving a dictator. I'm just going to give over the hand to the other, give an opportunity to Mr. J. You have better experience of working with military dictators. Now, Mahesh Jethmalani wanted to respond and General Jaswal wanted to respond. So I find today that the Pakistanis are a bit flummoxed with the Indian reaction, because there has been a tango going on over the last 10 years. You hurt us a little bit, we'll hurt you a little bit, then there'll be a flag meeting and life will move on and the puppy juppies or whatever are going to continue. Now, I fathom here, Mahesh Jethmalani, that the Pakistanis don't know how to respond to this situation. No, not the usual escalation of tension. No. The whole response from the Indian side is of a scale and nature and intent that is more direct, that is very different from what they have experienced earlier, which is why I'm getting no clear answer to my very basic question, what are you going to do now? The world doesn't listen to you. We're going to hit you back, and we'll keep hitting you, and the world still won't listen to you. Because the world has lost its faith in you. So the Pakistanis are completely cornered unless they want to live in a world of make-believe in there.
You've got the answer, you don't want to listen. If you hit us, we will hit you back.
Well, I think I'm giving you my perspective, but you just admitted that you are far weaker in conventional military strength. So you try and hit us back, you'll be hit back much more. You're the one who are going to be damaged. You don't even have the courage to tell the Pakistani people. General Qureshi, have the courage to tell the Pakistani people the kind of damage that you have suffered in the last 48 hours. Mahesh Jethmalani, therefore, this is not a log jam. This is a very serious situation. We are going to have to determine the extent to which we hit, the nature of our response, and how long we want to continue it. Yes, Mr. Jethmalani. I don't see the Pakistanis seeing reason very quickly, unlike you.
Arnab, we have the capacity for a long-haul battle with them and escalation at any level, and we are ready for it this time. That seems to be the mood of the government, backed by the entire nation. There are a few doves who will continue to sing the Pakistani establishment line for their own vested reasons. But by and large, the policy laid down by the Indian government is now unambiguously clear. And in any case, Arnab, we don't have to keep debating the nature of this, the future of this whole thing, because one thing is very clear, that we have historical experience. They've done it in Kargil, where they ratcheted up the entire scenario.
General Qureshi knows about
the aggressors, and when we hit back,
you did it in East Pakistan.
When we hit back with the double force, the same thing happened.
Isn't that fantastic?
First they tried
your memory is so selective, unfortunately.
And ultimately, what will happen, Arnab, is what happened in Kargil in 1999.
Precisely.
They will first try flag meetings, which we will not heed, and then they will go to their civilian government.
What's the point of a flag meeting? They will then run to their civilian
government and try and sue for peace. So we have this historical experience, and that is exactly what's going to happen, except this time we'll pulverize them a little more than we did in Kargil.
No, what is the point of a flag meeting with them, with the Pakistani, when there is visual evidence of their involvement in the attack on our civilians in the last 10 days?
No
not
point.
Just, You see,
Indian government has made that clear. No point.
So there is no point of a flag meeting when they have injured 51 of our civilians, killed 8 of our civilians, destroyed 120 structures, homes on Indian soil, continue to shoot and shell into civilian areas, well into Indian territory, not even sparing nursery schools. So General Jaswal right now, there seems to be a bit of braggadocio. Let me get you to engage with General Qureshi at a military level. General Qureshi says, you hit us, we'll hit you back. But at the same time, 15 minutes back, he conceded that the Pakistani army is much weaker, both in its strategic positions and in its depth. Yes, Brigadier? You're saying something, Brigadier?
And it is only the local commanders who can sort out the problem. Let them meet, let them decide, let them find out what is the problem, how the firing started off on
What's the point? What's the point? You attack 50 BSF positions on the international border and 20 army posts on the LOC. So you're going to get an equal response. So General Jaswal, I just want you to engage with General Qureshi, who seems to believe that the Pakistani army has an infinite capacity to hold out. What is the reality in terms of their pure military strength? Their capacity to either hold out or hit back?
I've again personal regards for General Qureshi for his views, whatever he does. But let me tell you, the resilience which the Indian Armed Forces has, I think is far, far more than, it's a known fact in terms of volume, our strength and our backup in terms of the munitions and the ordnance. So, I mean, that there's no debate on it. We have the resilience and we have the capacity. Now, this resilience has been further charged by the political opinion. And like Mr. Jethmalani rightly said, the red lines have been drawn. We can go ahead. But if we really want to again sort this problem out, what is taking place at the borders, it again has to be a diplomatic, engagement, because Pakistan has to give up the Kashmir issue. Then only all these problems which are, on the border, they will go away. Till the time they keep having it as till the time they have Kashmir as their national agenda, problems on the border because they want to internationalize the working boundary as they call it, our IB, that sorry, this is live and hot and this is a working boundary. These kind of issues will keep coming up. Now it's a very interesting thing that the intensity of engagement along the IB sector has been quite heavy. It's not been so much in the LC sector, like General Qureshi, he's a soldier, he served there. I've served half my service of 40 years in J&K. He knows that we occupy the mother ridge and we are dominating them. And if in case we decide to respond over there to any of their firings, it will be prohibitive. So therefore, the arena of engagement, the crescent is basically the
But that is something General Qureshi accepted. So it's a black hole of an argument here. He accepts the military weaknesses. And General Qureshi, why doesn't Pakistan show pictures of the 37 Pakistani border posts which have been thoroughly destroyed by the Indian retaliatory firing? You know, the BSF fired 1,000 to 1,200 shells overnight, inflicting huge damage on your military infrastructure in the area. Why don't you show the Pakistani people pictures of the damage that was inflicted upon you? Why are you blacking it out? Why aren't you showing that part? Maybe then people in Pakistan will become real.
Your issue is that you're making a statement of casualties or destruction on the Pakistani side when you have no way of either seeing or confirming it.
Okay.
So therefore, that's why I keep saying that you have been briefed by your intelligence, by your RAW, that this is what we've been able to do. From our point of view, where we can see and observe what has happened. And no. I don't get a briefing from anyone. I'm a civilian now. I'm a retired officer. So I'm a part of the Pakistani public. And what I see is casualties on the civilian side. I have been shown on television, on our media, the casualties that occurred by Indian shelling on civilians, and we have not seen what you are saying, 23 posts destroyed.
37,
and then
37.
In the same breath, you start crying that 43 posts of the BSF have been shelled. And then you say that so many people have been killed and so many have been wounded. And you say that you are pulverizing us. It seems from what you said that we've pulverized you.
General Qureshi, we've had these conversations.
I think, Arnab, it's a bit unfair. I think it's unfair for you to say General Qureshi might have served under a dictator, but you must realize that your dictatorial approach in the program, the fact that you think that the pictures that I show on my program are manufactured, how am I to believe that the pictures that you're showing are not manufactured? You are the judge and jury here in the program.
Because you're saying you'll show it on Friday, by which time we presume it must be manufactured.
You cannot be judge and jury.
It's
something.
It's coming on Friday.
Because you're going to show the pictures on Friday.
No, it's sensitive.
Because you're going to show the pictures on Friday, I can only presume that pictures shown 3 days later are usually manufactured.
It's being shown. That's because I only work 2 days a week. I only work 2 days a week.
So then, I work 7 days a week. We have better access to news. Anyway, listen, Rehan, let's not make it a trivial conversation. Let's not make it a trivial conversation.
Try watching Pakistani television.
Reham Khan, let's not trivialize a serious discussion, please.
We do have the footage.
Let's not trivialize a serious. We're just having some serious discussion here.
And I think really
Miss Khan, let's not have a.
The civilians on both sides being heard. The civilians on both sides being heard, and we can talk about this propaganda. But the fact is
you're repeating yourself. You have no fresh facts.
Pakistan and India need
but Miss Reham, you're presenting no fresh facts to the discussion.
Who their neighbors are.
But Miss Rehan, you are not presenting any facts on this table. You're just going on and on. What are you saying?
We must have a dialogue. We must communicate. It is time that we realize who our neighbors are.
Miss Reham Khan, I'll tell you. Miss Reham Khan, I'll tell now. You listen to me. Miss Khan.
At least let her complete her argument.
There is no argument she's presenting. She's repeating herself. There's not a single fact she's brought to the table.
A very sensible approach. You go to the UN, you have a joint communique, a very strongly worded joint communique coming out of the with the US.
What are you saying, ma'am? You're going on.
It is directed at your neighbor. At the same time, you're talking about stability and peace.
Ms. Reham, there's a serious discussion going on.
Is affecting normal citizens in Pakistan and India. These are the people. We can talk about this. We can talk about pulverizing. We can talk about.
Can I have a factual and serious discussion today, please?
Understand
Ms.
that
Rehan,
there needs to be conclusive programming where the viewers
Ms. Rehan, this is not some NGO type speech that you're giving here.
That our interests are tied together.
Okay,
we
so
must come to some sort of solution.
Ms. Rehan, I'm on a serious discussion.
Positive dialogue.
I think, so Ms. Rehan, I can also let's have a serious fact-based discussion. You can't go on and on about
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want
please now you bring some facts. I'll tell you something.
I want to move away and have a sensible discussion about what the solution is. The solution is not in pulverizing each other.
I'm Ms.
sure
Rehan, can we stop this?
Can also say the same things that you would be saying.
Miss Rehan, I'll just tell you, let's not have this. Let's not have this.
Really come to a conclusion.
Miss Rehan, let's have a serious discussion, not a junior school level,
It's Reham, by the way.
Miss Reham, let's not have a junior school level elocution competition going on out here. The point is simple, that the belief in India is that we can't have. You've been the Mahesh Jethmalani. I think the point is this, that
I'm going to send you a couple of books.
The point is, Miss Reham, I'll tell you.
I'm going to send you an Oxford dictionary so that you can define certain words about bias, dictatorial approaches, and also a journalism guide.
All right. I appreciate your little
as a friendly
elocution out there.
It's just, I think.
All right. Now Mahesh Jethmalani, let's get serious. Let's go back into a serious. Let's go into a serious. Let's go back to a serious mode on the debate once again.
And that's from one of
ma'am, now let's once again, I don't know about what the cocktail circuit does. Mahesh Jethmalani, the fact is that the general view is that you have been, Pakistan has been the beneficiary of Indian overtures despite our being the victim for very long. Despite the beheadings in January 2013, we kept our diplomatic channels open. Despite what happened in August 2013, we took the matter up strongly with Pakistan, but Sartaj Aziz and Salman Khurshid continued to meet. Right? Manmohan Singh chose to meet Nawaz Sharif on the sidelines of the UNGA despite the standoff in Kairan. Rashid Qureshi should know all of this. And there were 43 ceasefire violations between January and May 2014 in the run-up to the elections. Despite this, the first thing Modi did was to invite Nawaz Sharif for the swearing-in ceremony. So all of these facts have now been presented before the international community. So as far as we are pretty much in the clear when we explain to the international community that this is the backdrop. Therefore, in your view, if we continue to hit back at the Pakistanis in equal measure on this particular occasion, tell me factually, with this as the backdrop, will anyone in the international community intervene at any point or tell India, to stop hitting the Pakistanis back in equal measure? Because they are the ones who started it this time.
Well, no, our simple answer will be, let Pakistan silence its own guns. And Arnab, I believe at the moment it's not equal measure, it's in greater measure that we are responding. I'm not being macho about our response,
yes.
But that's the fact of the situation. And that's why you are getting the white flag from Pakistan and all kinds of noises from many different nooks and corners of the Pakistani establishment, saying that why aren't we talking and why should we keep pulverizing each other, to use Reham's phrase just now. So, it is having its impact, and that's the only way. They've tested us, and we've shown our resolve. Now it's for Pakistan to sue for some kind of peace.
Yeah, because no country is tolerant of unprovoked attacks. I mean, General Rashid Qureshi should know. Maybe he understands history much better. Should Israel have stayed quiet when 3 of its civilians were killed by the Hamas recently? Or when its soldiers were kidnapped by the Hezbollah in 2006? Should the international community, Rashid Qureshi, have remained quiet when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait in 1990? You can question the extent, for example, the extent of the Israeli response. You can question the extent of the Indian response, but you can't stay put. You see, when there is an unprovoked attack, any self-respecting nation is going to hit back. And in this
Therefore,
case,
what you're saying is that you're behaving like Israel here.
No. What I'm saying is that no country...
Yes, that is exactly what you've just said.
No. It's a very reasonable argument. I am presenting
that India's role in the region is what Israel's role is in the Middle East.
What did I say to you, sir? Again,
what
did I say? I gave 4 examples before that, Rashid Qureshi. Mr. Qureshi, I gave 4 examples. I gave the example of August 2013. I gave the example of August 20. I can assure you that if Israel would not have continued talks in the way that India continued talks in January 2013 after the beheadings, August 2013, on the sidelines of UNGA despite the Tehran standoff, you know that, sir. We continued to talk with you. We gave you a long rope. You must admit, General Qureshi. Now that rope is not a permanently
I think it's time for you to admit, Arnab, now,
it's not
a change, that India is behaving in this region like Israel is behaving in the Middle East.
But I've given you some factual examples to prove that we haven't behaved like the Israelis.
No.
What we are simply doing is responding. General Jaswal would like to respond to that before I close the debate. General Jaswal, I don't know why, despite my giving example, General Qureshi is not understanding the factual points being made here.
The response
my point is you have been the beneficiary.
These are the words that you use.
So my point
teach Pakistan a lesson. Pulverize Pakistan.
We are saying we'll teach your Pakistani...
This is the way what you've been saying.
Sir, what we've been saying is that the Pakistani army and the Pakistani Rangers, who as you very well know are under the direct control of the Pakistani army. You see, the BSF is not under the direct control of the Indian army. But the Pakistani Rangers are under the direct control of the Pakistani army. And we are saying to you, you've been the beneficiary of our overtures for far too long, despite us being the victims of your aggression. You have taken us for granted. And you now are surprised that you're not getting any overtures from our side, and you're not getting overtures. There is no flag meeting because our patience has run out. Because our patience has run out, General Qureshi. Our patience has run out. That's simply the point.
Can I?
Yes, General Jaswal would like to say something.
Your
General
patience rang out so many times.
General Qureshi,
one doesn't even know what you're saying.
May I, General Qureshi? May I, General Qureshi? May I? Please.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. You see, this was an example that a nation responds when it is tickled. It is not that we are trying to behave like Israel. The context, the arena is totally different than ours. Our context between India and Pakistan is totally different. But a response which was earlier reserved has now come out, in great measure. And that is what it is. And I again reiterate that the whole problem is J&K problem because of all that, this boundary issues coming up. Let's address that. And you are being unreasonable, that is Pakistan, not you in particular, but the whole of Pakistan to have Kashmir as a national agenda. The reasons are known to all of us, and you know it. You cannot in any way take Kashmir. You're not being able to control the internal strife which is there in Pakistan. Because of your own inadequacies, you lost East Pakistan. So don't start dreaming of Kashmir per se. Let's be mature nations. Let's resolve these issues which are there. Okay. Let's not tickle each other on this kind of thing, that Kashmir is yours or whatever. Things will fall in place.
Perhaps the best thing for Pakistan is to take a step back. Is to take a step back, General Jaswal, and realistically assess the situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The rationale has to be sustained. If the rationale is not there, then of course these kind of things will go on. But again, what Arnab was saying, that now that we are going to respond in greater measure.
Precisely.
And that is how a nation should respond.
Precisely.
And we will. And there is no doubt about it. So don't tickle. Don't tickle.
Well,
we've shown a lot of patience.
I hope the Pakistani army has learnt its lessons, and we continue to follow up this story. We have our reporters in both these sectors, in Akhnur and in Samba. We are tracking the story. We'll go back to them in just a minute. Devender Rana wants to say something. Yes, Devender Rana. Quick last word to you, please. Yes, Mr.
I heard this debate very patiently for over an hour. For over an hour, very patiently. The only part that saddens me is that we are the theatre of everything. But there was not a single word of either a sympathy for those who have lost their lives or those who are displaced. I am saddened by this. We become the theatre, and we are not even a part of the entire discussion for 1 hour because we probably have this in our fate. It's a very sad story.
Mr. Rana,
I hope sagacity prevails on everybody, and we are spared of this whole thing that we have to go through our people on the border and the LOC.
I take your point. I think you should ask the Pakistanis what they have done, and maybe you should take them to task very strongly when you have the opportunity or the inclination to. Thank you very much for joining me on this debate on the News Hour tonight.